I call Sue Williams CO.
I think, Mr. Speaker, that the members of the Pacific Island listening into this debate will have very strong difficulty accepting or believing the concept about this government being committed to the Pacific. They've heard it often, too often, and particularly in the last campaign, and it's all come to naught. It means nothing. Words are quite cheap in terms. They've learnt to understand and accept that this government will say anything to try and bring people about to their thinking, but at the end of the day, they are just simply words. Mr. Speaker, I want to firstly acknowledge the leaders and the people of the community of Cook Islands who are listening in. Ki rana tātou katoa. I also want to acknowledge the leaders and people of Niue who are listening in, that place that we affectionately call the Rock, Whakalowhala Yatu. And I also want to acknowledge also the leaders and people of Tokelau who are prayerfully listening to this debate, as well as prayerfully waiting for one of their former ulus who is sick in America, the Honourable Toloa. And I acknowledge them, sir, because I'm aware that they have been listening in to the debate as this piece of legislation is moved through the passage throughout this House. May I begin by saying, I want to share a Samoan saying, which means, o e la vea ia te au I taimi o pupunga, o iwi toto o ango. And if I translate that, it would mean, he or they who come to my hour of need are my family. They are blood, bones, and flesh. And I say that, sir, in the outset, because when it comes to dealing with the Pacific, you're dealing with people, and relationships are paramount in our ongoing dealings with the Pacific. And I've just got a few points that I want to raise. Firstly, I want to acknowledge Poto Williams and Carmel Cipollone and members of New Zealand First and the Green Party, because we have stood united in acknowledging the fact that, yes, we support this bill, but we believe that New Zealanders should be treated equally, regardless of where they are based, and support the removal of the 5-year resident and present status. And I'll tell you why. So we pride ourselves, New Zealand that is, in saying that we have this constitutional arrangement between New Zealand and members of the realm countries, Cook Island, Niue and Tokelau. And because we don't have a written constitution, sir, we rely on the words of past and present prime ministers, past and present ministers of foreign affairs, past and present governor generals. And the governor general that enforced how important this relationship was for me was Sir Anand Satyanan, who everywhere he lived and walked or spoke, he would always acknowledge the languages of the realm of New Zealand: Māori, English, Sign Language, Cook Island, Niue and Tokelau. Sir, that says it all. That this Governor General acknowledges this uniquely special relationship. What does it mean? Time and time again, we have Murray Macaulay, the Prime Minister John Key, always say this phrase: we New Zealanders have a special relationship with the Pacific. But in their hour of need, where the leaders of those countries have presented themselves at the Select Committee, what do we give them? We give them half a pie, but we hold on to the other half. What for? That reminds me of another Samoan saying, it's a trap. We'll give you a little bit now, but we'll hold on to this other part for later on. So the relationship, if the relationship is important, they should recognize that these leaders come armed with the prayers, with the endorsement of the people of those countries. They are New Zealand citizens. Why does this government continue to treat them as second-class citizens? Why is it? Because that's what they're doing. That's exactly what they're doing. So we had the Premier of Niue, the Prime Minister of the Cook Islands, and some significant individuals of these countries come and make submission. I want to read something out, sir, that's important to me. From the Cook Islands, we know Niue, the unique and special relationship, has seen many New Zealand citizens move from the Cook Islands, Niue and Tokelau to work in New Zealand and contribute economically, socially and culturally to the fabric of New Zealand society. That side of the House, that government, makes it out as if we're giving them a handout. That's what they believe. Here we have the government of Cook Island saying it's not a one-way street. Yes, they receive aid from New Zealand. They have to. It's their constitutional obligation. But in the same token, sir, the people, Cook Islands, Niue and Tokelau, come, work, they go to school there, they pay taxes here, they contribute. Nandi, the Honourable Nandi Glassy, lived in Māngere, worked in Manukau, worked in local government, sir, until he was about, I don't know, he looks older now, but I think he's around in his 40s. He left here, now is the Minister of the Cook Island government. So what do we tell him? When he retires, he won't be eligible. He won't be eligible because he has to be present here in the lands of Aotearoa New Zealand. But the lands of Aotearoa New Zealand should also include the Cook Islands, the soil, the land of the Cook Islands, Niue and Tokelau. So I agree with what my colleagues here on this side of the House have said. This government is just being mean. They say words to the effect as if the relationship is real and genuine, but in reality, these actions speak louder than the words that they continue to roll out. So, only yesterday, myself, Adrian Rurewhe, Chris Fafoi, and Jenny Salesa, we attended Jerry Collins' funeral in Portability. This is important. And Bestar was there, and we helped him get into the row that we were sitting in because he didn't want to sit next to Ken Douglas. and we were there. And prior to the funeral, sir, we made a brief presentation to the family of Jerry Collins in accordance with Samoan protocol and culture to pay our respects, to convey our alofas to them. The essence of all the testimonies and tributes made at that funeral, sir, was about Jerry Collins never forgot where he came from. Jerry Collins never forgot his tupuanga, the people who supported him to the role that he played. Jerry Collins never forgot his si'osi'omanga, his environment, what makes him the person he is. And he was constantly working to give something back to P-Town or to the people that made him the person he was, helped him along into becoming the star All Black. So it was an amazing funeral, and it was an amazing atmosphere with all the tributes. I'm getting to the point. And the point I'm making, sir, is, and this is reference to the chairman of the Social Services Committee, Alfred Ngaro. I want to appeal to him because when we were campaigning last year, he went out to the community and made promise after promise after promise in the likeness of John Key to the people of the Pacific that if they came into government, things would happen. Things would happen. I want to say to him that the sign of a government that has become so arrogant and drunk with their own mightiness is a government that refuses to listen to the people. I want to appeal to you, Alfred. You need to listen to the people who helped you arrive to where you are now. And this is important, sir.
Point of order. The Honourable Pasita Sam Lutuanga.
Sir, this member's been here long enough to know that he is getting well away from the contents of this bill.
I'm the judge of these matters, and I'm calling Sir William Seo.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I'm appealing to the chair of the Social Services Committee who heard the submissions, who heard the pleas from the Cook Island Prime Minister, from the Premier of Tokelau, from the elders of those community, the community that you belong to, that he belongs to. I'm appealing to you, listen to the people. Do not live up to the meaning of your name and forget who brought you to where you are.
Point of order, Alfred Ngaro.
That member knows that there is an offence culturally to actually start to use a person's name, which we would never do. So I take offence at actually the use of that comment.
All right, thank you. Well, the member's taken offence. I'll ask the member who's speaking to withdraw that comment.
I withdraw. I appeal again to the chairman, Mr. Alfred Ngaro. Do not forget your tupuanga, the people who supported you, who covered you, who enabled you to sit at the head of the table. Listen to the pleas that they've given you. Because I think I'm afraid, sir, that if you have not listened to their appeals and to their submission to be flexible in your stance on this particular issue, then it means that you're selling your soul. And you're selling your soul. And that's a bad thing, because there are so many of us.
Sorry to interrupt the honourable member. The member's time has expired.
Thank you.
Called